the sisters? Okay, we don't get started until I hear shalom. Does that work? Okay. I got to know where I'm at. All right, so today is Father's Day, of course, and some of us, like me, we've left our children and our families home to come spend our time with you. So what I had personally planned is I lost some of the pictures that I wanted to show you guys in my phone last night. But I wanted to talk about my recent journey in having twins. We just had twins a couple of weeks ago, and I learned a lot. So I wrote a book called Vegan Babies, and if we have time, we'll get to go through a little bit of the book. But I treated this hospital trip like a backstage pass. So I was in there conducting classes, going crazy in there, all right? And then my wife happened to come down with Preeclampsia. So that gave me even more room to debate the doctors and get into a whole little diatribe with them and uncover some truths that hopefully I'll be able to share with you guys today. What is Wimpy white boy syndrome? Has anybody ever heard of that? Nobody? Has anybody ever heard of preeclampsia? Have anybody dealt with that on a personal level? Sisters? Okay. Wimpy white boy syndrome was told to me, and it made me, I cried in there. I laughed till tears ran down. Whenever you have a premature child, this is how they categorize their chances of survival. See, it's one thing when you come to classes like this, lectures like this, and you hear people with a certain perspective speak. It's another thing when you hear scientists tell you themselves, Europeans tell you themselves. This is how they judge a preterm baby's chances. A wimpy white boy has the least chances of surviving if he comes preterm, purely on genetics. A European female, higher than his, but not as good as a black boy. And at the top of the food chain, which is why I really thought this was super relevant today, is the black woman. The most highly prized genetics on the planet Earth, scientifically. Why is that important to discuss today? Well, one of the reasons is we give a lot of genetic material away to these hospitals. See, so we come and we talk about how we need to get out of the problems that we deal on a day-to-day basis, how unity is going to help that out, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But unity is not the solution by itself. Because if a bunch of people that are uninformed come together, all you have is just more confusion. We're in the hospital in droves. And it never fails. Because I don't push home birth. Only reason I don't promote home birth is because when people hear that, when you speak publicly, you have to speak responsibly. And when people hear home birth, they don't go seek a qualified doula. They don't go take any lessons or classes themselves. They don't send their husband, their baby father to learn anything either. They just think they're going to sit at home till 9 months and squat. So this is why I don't promote it. Okay, we need to have education as the forefront, our priority. This is important because if we're not putting the emphasis on how we make babies and how we take care of the babies, we won't be here that much longer. Now, this right here is an example. I just pulled this down. This was what I had so much fun. Every single doctor in the hospital now knows my name based off this right here. When you're in the hospital and you're in there for delivery, every time they take your blood work, this is what they write up. This is what the blood work looks like, right? And what they would tell you about preeclampsia is they don't know the cause. As usual, right? This is what they tell you almost about everything. They don't know the cause, and there is no cure. The only thing they can do is pull the baby early. So now when they pull the baby early, that puts you into a whole new set of issues. 40% of your child's immune system is in the delivery canal. The moment you have a C-section, your child is missing 40% of their immune system. The other 40% of the child's immune system comes from the breast milk. But when they put your child in the NICU, there is no breast milk up there for the first couple of days because they tell you that they got to make weight. So they feed them some crazy food, and most of us never even look up the ingredients. I cried laughing so hard at the ingredients. I was like, this shit crazy. No doctor in here would feed this to themselves. The main ingredient is corn syrup. Corn syrup. I'm like, corn syrup and whey protein. And then when you're doing things in bulk, you're using the lowest quality whey protein because the best quality goes to milk. So once they powder it, believe that's not the first quality milk. And I did a lecture on milk and hybrid milk and et cetera, et cetera. But what I came to the conclusion is our best friends, all right? If you've heard Minister Enqi speak, if you're on 40dayfruitfast.com, the website, if you're in the Facebook group, if you're not, kill yourself. But if you are, then you're familiar with me talking about white blood cells and how they do not belong in black bodies. So when I went through this, I showed them not only on ours, but on 10 other women, that all of them had excessively high white blood cell counts, and not only high white blood cell counts, but excessively high white blood cell to red blood cell ratios. So I proved to them beyond a shadow of a doubt that not only does somebody know the origin of preeclampsia, it's me. And I showed them the origin. White blood cell activity. Preeclampsia is simply inflammation for pregnant women. It's inflammation for pregnant women. But they like to play games with you, mind games, because they know we're not studying. So every time we do 2 cents, 5 minutes worth of study, they change things up. Preeclampsia is brand new. That's a new, nice, jazzy Fifth Avenue name. It used to be toxemia. See, toxemia is a lot more direct and to the point. You don't even have to wonder about that. You don't have to go to school. You don't even got to be deep. Somebody say you got toxemia, automatically your brain says, too much toxins. Very simple. Preeclampsia, what is that? There's no reference for that. There's no way to fight, prevent that. What is that? What do? We have to address the body's plasma, right? We have to address the body's plasma. So I'll get there in a second. But I want to go do this a little bit, and I know it'd be much more entertaining if I was telling some jokes, but we got to do the science, right? That's the people we come from. At least that's what we claim anyway. Ancestors. Right? But, the other piece I mentioned. When you come in and you're pregnant and they think you have preeclampsia or toxemia, the first thing they tell you is, we have to give you a shot, steroids. We have to give you steroids just in case we have to pull the baby early for lung development, right? Lung development, sidebar that. So when they give you the steroid, they never tell you that the side effect of the steroid is that it's going to shoot your white blood cell count up through the roof. They never tell you that. In fact, I wouldn't even found that out if we didn't do a sonogram. Anybody sonogram? All right. Okay, hold on. Too many of those. How many people have heard of sonogram? Oh, okay. What about the Doppler effect? How many have heard of the Doppler effect? Okay, a lot of hands. What's the Doppler effect? The Doppler effect, when studied in science, tells you which direction energy or light is moving in. So you deal with the red shift, light or energy moving towards you. The blue shift, light or energy moving away. That's the whole reference I have for the Doppler effect until I'm there with the sonogram, and they're like, oh, sir, we found a problem here. Something on the Doppler. Doppler? Oh, this is my babies. We need Doppler effect. I thought they astronomers. They said, no, when you take the sonogram, the Doppler effect is actually how we measure the blood flow in the baby. You said, whoa. The fact that your body is cosmic is scientific. The only people that don't know the science is us. When they deal with you in the hospital, they deal with you as the Most High. This is why they steal your tissues, organs, and genes. That was the biggest fight I had in the hospital, to get out of there with all my genetic material. Both placentas, the cords, everything. No cord blood registry for me. No. You need to register mine. No. We don't need you to register nothing mine. No. Because then you're going to be selling my information, making profit, and I'm going to still be struggling. So I don't agree to any extra test. Oh, well, sir, we just want to move the oxygen center from her ankle to her wrist because it could quite possibly detect early heart situations. It could quite possibly. I'm like, wow, there's a lot of room in there. No, I think I'll pass. Do you use those test results for anything else? Well, typically we use the results for information gathering and I'm done. See, we got to get there. We got to get there. Because, see, I talk a little radical and crazy sometimes. I ask people, do they really believe in God? Because some people, oh, yeah, I believe in God. I'm in church, I'm in the temple, I'm blah, blah, blah. Okay, when you get sick, what you do? You follow his plan or some man's? Because he said the herbs are for the healing of the nation. I didn't find nowhere in the Bible where it said Tylenol is for the healing of the nation. It did say Motrin. None of that was in there. None of that was in there. That's why we have these problems that we're dealing with. This inflammation, this eternal burning. That's what inflammation is. You're inflamed for life until you get rid of it. Okay. Moving forward. Just for your info, because it does work when you understand this information. Trust me, you have a completely different conversation with the doctors in the hospital, the nutritionists in the hospital. In fact, the hospital becomes not such a hostile place when you're in your right perspective. When you know all the procedures, all the vocabulary, and you know the key, that everybody in that building works for you, that transforms your whole hospital experience. Because when I'm in the hospital, I tell them what I'm getting ready to do, what I'm not getting ready to do, what I'm getting ready to take, what I'm not getting ready to take. No, you can't stick me with that. No, I'm not signing that until I read every paragraph. In fact, I'll be making annotations here. Okay, I need you to sign that also. Yeah, initial that. No, this is a contract. So when I make changes, you have to initial it so that it's legal. Yeah, initial right there. Yep. Boop, 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 boop. Make my changes, make my signature, pass that back. When you go in there and you sign all those papers, you don't know what you're giving permission for them to do. This is why 80% of the women that wake up with hysterectomies did not give permission prior to going under gas or whatever the local anesthesia is. And there's no recourse because you signed. So, just a little information. Anytime you see ASE at the end of a term, that is referring to enzymes. Enzymes are crucial to your health. Crucial to your health. In your body, anything that's done anywhere is done by an enzyme. Right? We black folks, we talk about melanin a lot. Melanin comes from melanosomes. Melanosomes are enzymes that live inside melanocytes, which are the cells that carry them. We have to get this. Your bilirubin, your phosphatase, urine occult blood. Now that I'm not even going to deal with today. I just want you to notice that this is on your hospital test results. Okay? Urine occult blood. So I'm going to leave that there, right? And then urea nitrogen. Urea nitrogen. Your nitrogen and your white blood cell levels are very important when measuring inflammation. All right? This is how your babies get strapped up when they come a little early. Now, a couple of these things I've already touched on. See, I want you to have this information so when you leave here today, we're not taken advantage of. Because the fact that we have a different physiology means that we need slightly different care than everyone else. Now, when you look at this overhead warmer, they tell you that these are bilirubin lights. And the bilirubin lights are so that your infant gets help getting rid of excess bilirubin. Nobody asked them the $1 million question. Excuse me, doc, how's that going to happen? Because see, when you ask that question, then you get an answer that may tell you might want to skip that. This machine changes all of the bilirubin in your body into ammonia. And hopefully at that point, the baby's kidneys are strong enough to excrete the ammonia in terms of urine. But usually the kidneys are just about the same level of development as the bladder and some of the other organs. So what winds up happening is some of this ammonia circulates into the child's brain and shuts down their pituitary and pineal glands' ability to secrete melatonin at night. So a lot of children that are up at night crying like little maniacs and you just don't know what to do with they behind, it's because their melatonin is not secreting properly. You may not even have them in the right lighting. You gotta have the lights right. See, light is a form of nutrition. And we hear that sometimes when we're in spiritual conversations or, you know, slightly weird fifth dimension conversations, right? But it's hashtag facts, and we should all know that because the doctors tell you that they're going to change the bilirubin flowing through your body into another chemical just with light. Just with light alone. So we have to understand how important light is because we're all sticking our babies soon as they can talk in front of a video game. In front of Dora. In front of Barney. Okay. We have to know what this thing is doing. This beautiful guy over here, the ventilator machine. I will leave this after the ventilator machine because that was just like too crazy. I was like, no, we're not doing that. They were like, sir, the babies are way too early. They may not be able to breathe on their own. They have to have this ventilator. I was like, okay, so those are mine, right? It's like, yes. I was like, okay, cool. I said no. Okay, sir, well then you're gonna have to sign these papers that say if anything goes wrong, no problem. This ventilator machine, now, mind you, you should be mindful of the weeks, the time, etc. Because had it been really early, then I would have just said we got to gamble and go with the ventilator machine. So you have to be mindful of your children and you have to understand health. But you also got to know what these machines are and your physiology and how these things and what they're doing to your body affects the child later on. This whole ventilator machine runs on vinegar. I was like, wait a minute, what? Because I'm looking at the machine, and the machine got some liquid, like bubbling, like weird science. It's looking crazy. I'm like, yo, so that smoke coming out of that liquid, it seems like it's coming into the child's nose. They're like, yeah, that's how we keep the oxygen really fresh and pure. I'm like, okay, cool. So what kind of water is that? No, it's not water. I'm like, wait a minute. So you keep the oxygen? What is that? Vinegar. Who's in charge? I named my babies off that. They said, well, sir, your babies are not going to be able to come home for X amount of weeks. They said 8 weeks minimum for my babies to come home. I have my babies home in 3 days. Like, nigga, please. I was trying to find quickly, because I took a picture on my phone, the ingredients to show you the ingredients. I mean, everybody in here that's trying to get healthier, just think of the things that you've cut out your diet. Whatever they are, they're in whatever they are, they're in the baby food. Whatever they are, they're in the baby food. Not to mention MSG, right? And this right here, in fact, hold on, let me show y'all something. Let me switch it up. Let me show y'all something. Remember this, because this right here, and I try to bring awareness to this everywhere I speak on this subject. These guys, DHA and ARA. Because anybody that's spending money on baby food knows that they like to charge you extra dollars when your food is quote unquote fortified, fortified with DHA and ARA. All right, so real quick. Now, this is an all-natural substitute. But I just wanted to show these guys right here. Martech Biosciences Corporation. See, we got to learn how to put names on people, faces on people, and give these folks hell. Right? They feeding this crazy stuff to our babies. See, that's why some of the things that go on in black communities are our fault. Because when some of these things go on in white communities, they do everything short of burning this. Not in our neighborhood! Get it down! So we got to get like that. The nutritional supplement, all baby food get their DHA and ARA supplements from these guys. So before we go any deeper, let me let you know that now, because I know it's some of y'all at home quiet right now, feeding y'all babies this foolishness. All right? But this is why we need to get the information. All right? So look at these. I know one of these in your house. All these got them in there. They in there. DHA and ARA. Long-chain fatty acids, normally present in breast milk. However, the DHA and ARA in baby formula is not only synthetic, but they're produced in a lab from algae and fungus, and then extracted from the algae and fungus with hexane, a neurotoxin. Oh, come on, these lovely doctors got your best interest at heart. Right? You see, it's boring reading all these textbooks and studying all this information, minister. It's much better to just buy this stuff and, yeah. So I gives you the info. Go get them. That's the office building. I rolls up on offices. Right? This is what's really in your carton. You know this. We talking about babies here. We talking about baby mamas, wives. Right? They get put under pressure by these social workers? They come and scare these women up because they call me up afterwards. Minister, social worker just left, and she said, if I don't start feeding my baby cow's milk, they could take my children. Okay. See, you need to have this information at your disposal so that you know how much cow feces is in each quart. So that you know how much psoriasis cells. You know what psoriasis cells are? Mucus, snot. See, when you have those at your disposal, then you can make the social worker frustrated. I do it all the time. Was it safe to feed feces to the babies? Of course not. Okay, well, let me show you this online. Because you know I got the reports here that shows that there's a certain amount of feces in these cartons of milk. Wow, I've never seen that. See, these people don't know no more than you do. All they know is they get paid to tell you something. A lot of them are doing the same thing at home to their children. So when you sit down and you have the information and you can teach instead of complain, you will see things change. You will see things change. And trust me, the suit is just for you guys at the classes and the lectures. I'll be a little droopy, the jeans and As soon as my mouth opened, though, they see somebody completely different. And it works. Because they need to know that the outfit does not determine the intelligence. They have to stop judging us by our outfit. But the problem is that most of us live inside the outfit. So we have to demonstrate we can live outside the outfit. Like think outside the box. So when I see you look like a nigga, then as soon as you start talking, you act like a nigga, you in the box. You living in the outfit. But when I see you speak above and beyond that, I see your demeanor, your moral character, then I have to deal with you based on that. Because there's a higher power that may deal with me if I don't, right? So, almond milk, right? Get that. Here's a comparison of all your milks. Now this is PDF. You can get the PDF at theamberinstitute.com, theamberinstitute.com, or 40dayfruitfast.com. But you need to have this comparison. Cow's milk. Here's your vitamins and minerals. Social worker. I'm sorry, social worker. I thought it was important to get the vitamins and minerals. Okay, well, boom. It looks like hemp milk is... Wait a minute. Hemp? Ain't that weed? Okay. All right, next slide. Next slide. Right? Now, oh, this is a good slide right here. I'll come back to this. All right. Let me show you something real quick. A lot of sisters don't know. Now, beautiful. God Bodies in Training Meal Plan. This is something a lot of sisters don't know and don't understand. All right? First things first. Stop listening to white folks. They create problems for you that they monetize. This is the whole hustle. Soon as you come out the hospital, they telling you, mix, if you're going to breastfeed, at least mix some formula in the breast milk so that way the child is more strong and robust. And the meals are more filling for the child, etc., etc., etc. They know the science. They know that your breast milk production is based on how hungry the child is. Your breast will produce the amount of milk the child craves. Now, if you are getting rid of that craving with something synthetic, then the child's craving is diminished. So your ability to produce milk is diminished. And as that goes on, by the time you get 2 months in, you're gonna notice the baby's growing and wants more milk, and now you can't produce enough. Now you're gonna go back to the same doctor that told you to mix the formula in the breast milk, and they're gonna say, oh, well, you need to just go with formula. Now what you gonna do? You stuck? No. Understand that your breast was designed for the babies. Long before there was a hospital or even a word doctor, breast was feeding babies. Long before they even used the word babies to describe babies, breast was feeding babies. So you have to start asking them, hey, what do we do before that? Key question. It gets me out of a lot of stuff. Hey, we need to put your baby on this. I'd be like, well, how long has that machine been around? You're like, oh, we had it for about a couple of weeks. No. Been invented. Like, when did they make that? Oh, it's made 80 years ago. Cool. How old are we? If we couldn't survive without that machine, technically, then we should be 80 years old as a species. Cool, I'll skip the machine. So, your breast change. This is what you need to know. This is magical, literally. And I would stand in any debate with any scientist from anywhere to prove that breasts are just plain magic. Period. No scientist could tell you no different. I kid you not. And men, if you got a woman at home, you better get you some of that breast milk before it's gone. Even y'all ain't on speaking terms. Get it out the fridge, steal it. She can make more, right? You need it. But your breast milk changes as the child grows. The breast milk changes as the child grows. So you never get to the point where you have to introduce solid foods for your baby. You could breastfeed your baby till 8. Now, Well, you look crazy as hell. 8-year-old boy you might go to jail depending on. But the breast will change. You just have to make sure your diet is right. If you have the grains, the minerals, the vitamins, the phytonutrients, your breast will break that down for your baby and give it to the baby in the right ratios. You have to have oil, though, for the baby's brain. You have to have the right natural sugars for the baby's nervous system to develop. You have to have healthy cholesterol in your body for the myelin sheath that covers the baby's nerves to develop. A lot of us trying to get healthy are cutting those things out of their diet. Oh, I don't do oils, minister. Really? Your brain is made out of oil, right? Okay. Don't make me. I'm on oil, so my brain's still working. Right? Aren't we familiar with the Bible? What does it say? Anoint thy head with oil. Okay. So you listen to people say, don't eat oil if you want to. I'll continue getting mine in the natural way. And not from extracts. Don't think when you buy olive oil, then you're getting the right amount of olive oil because olive oil is healthy. No, olive oil is healthy when you get it from eating olives. Grapeseed oil is healthy when you get it from eating grape seeds. The moment you concentrate anything and take it out of its natural ratios, then it's imbalanced for your body. And it's going to create a deficiency, even if it's quote unquote nutritious. This is why we got to know some of this stuff. I know, my time is ticking. So, this gives you an idea of what your baby's supposed to have as they're getting bigger. So all you need to do is introduce the things that your baby needs into your diet. And that will introduce it into the baby's diet. And with that, I'm gonna close. I'll be in the back. We have the diagnostic machine, so we do full body diagnostics. We test every bone, tissue, fluid, and cell in your body. It's very inexpensive. There's no pricking, no blood tests, no needles, etc. And I'll be available for questions, etc., etc. Anybody with, minister, I'll be dead in 2 days. I got you. Come on to the back.
Let's keep it going for Mr. Enqi. Outstanding minister when it comes to health, and he hit it right in the nose. The Most High gave us everything that we need from the earth. So we have to go back to that. We have to go back to that science. Okay, so please see the brother before you leave. Okay, the brother has a plethora of information that is essential in these days because the mothers are the first line of defense when the child is born. You're the first nurturer. You're the first person that they see and they look for. So they are attacking you. So you have to have all the defensive mechanism, all the shields and all the bucklers that you need to defend your children, your family, because you're that first line of defense.